All right, well, thank you for joining the Sound Payments Petro webinar. This is the third in our series, but we've been doing this in our company and other channels as well. And really, again, thank you everybody for joining. And on the call, we did have the Georgia Association of Convenience Stores, which we just talked about, and we thank Angela for joining. And we had the Petroleum Marketers Association of America, the Florida Petroleum Marketers Association, and the Western States Petroleum Marketers Association. So as a company, we really thank you all for your continued support, and we really try to cast a wide net and get out there and try to get our name out there. But really, this presentation today will be really educational. Ecosystem looks right now, highlighting our solution, but really kind of, how we're making this process easier. So we're excited to begin. And as you mentioned, we have Cory on the call, who will be giving us some in-person, real-world examples as he's been out there in the field and launching things. And then at the end, we invite you to take a quick poll. It'll be just say how you found out about us, a couple other questions, and yeah, we'll jump right in. So who we are as a company, Sound Payments, we're a multi-channel, diversified technology company that provides cost-effective cloud-based solutions to the petroleum, payments, and banking industries. And our president is Andrew Russell, who's from the banking industry, but has really helped build this great, multi-channel, diversified company. And we have a lot of different SaaS solutions. And today we're highlighting the petroleum channel in our company. And is a couple tidbits about our company, how we like to, deliver innovation and cost-effective value and different solutions. And our company's headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, with regional sales offices. And one in particular is our Petro office, which is in the St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Florida. So we thought that was a great place due to some of the industry, tech that happened to be in the area, plus it's beautiful, right? So we wanted to have a great headquarters for the Petro channel. So we're excited. We also partner with companies like PAX and Boomtown and many others that help us, deliver our solutions. And I want to just make clear that we're not an ISO or a gateway or a processor. So we're not in the merchant services business. We offer a point of sale, like I mentioned, our Petro products, et cetera. But we're really partnering with those channel partners like ISOs and processors, jobbers, et cetera. So that's really our focus. So just a little bit about the ecosystem and what's going on. The deadline has been pushed back for EMV at the pump to April 2021, and really it's a liability shift. So now, if the gas station in April 2021 does not have the chip, technology to enable that at the pump, then they're going to be at fault, and the liability falls on them in terms of chargebacks and fraud, et cetera, that the customers make. I'm sure if we all look in our wallets today, we have chips on our cards, at least 95% of us. So that's what this is all about. It's about upgrading our legacy sort of Petro market and helping be safer. So our solution, what we'll get into, we'll talk about the others, is a third of the others. It's a retrofit solution that works with all the major pump types. Cory will get into some of the ones that he works with. And as you can see, the other little hit points here, it's the contactless EMV, which is big right now for eliminating touch points at the pump and social distancing. So it's great that the technology caters to that as well. And the terminals are certified. So in a more technical conversation, it eliminates the recertification need, which we see a lot of times in this space. So I'm going to quickly go through what the forecourt, ecosystem might look like today if you had X-ray goggles and you looked at a gas station. So you put your card in the pump, and that payment does not actually take place at the pump. It's going to send the data to the forecourt controller. And that's the hub. That's where the payments take place. That's what controls the pumps. It's what the in-store point of sale speaks to activate the pumps, et cetera. And it's a single point of failure. So everything flows through that. It requires wide, scope PCI certification, and all the payments go through there. So what we've done is we've brought semi-integration to the pump. So just to kind of think of an example, when you go to a convenience store or Macy's or anywhere you might go today in retail, EMV hit there around 2015. That's when everyone started to get it there. So think of a pin pad that goes directly to the processor. It's semi-integrated. That's what we're putting in the pump. So it's a semi-integrated payment device, and we're retrofitting it to the existing gas pump, and we work with all the major pump types. And when you put your card in our device, it's going to go straight to the credit card processor via wireless in a point-to-point encrypted tunnel that's very secure, and it's going to obtain the payment right there at the pump. So then, instantly, just like you would in a normal transaction, it's going to send that command that we received the payment through our bridge, which lets us speak to the forecourt controller. So now the forecourt says, hey, we've got $80 activated on pump 6. Activate pump 6. So in the snap of a finger, essentially we've eliminated the payment aspect from the forecourt controller, and our device is speaking through the cloud and the bridge to it to activate the pump. So the gas station will need wireless, which we find today to be a very nominal fee, and most sometimes have it. And that's in a nutshell how it works. It goes straight to the processor, achieves the payment. It's a PCI certified device, so there's no need to do PCI certifications on the whole makeup and system of the gas station. That sometimes takes a long time. And with our product, you're able to, some of the points here you'll see, we can use the bridge as the one-to-many connection. The PCI data is no longer part of that in-store ecosystem because like I said before, the data flows underground tunnels to the forecourt, and same thing from the inside. So we're removing that, and we're really excited about that. So some of the pain points that gas stations face today, is the cost of new equipment and construction. They're faced with a couple solution options. Gas stations are either going to have to buy new gas pumps, which can run between $50,000 or $20,000 each. They have an option of a manufacturer retrofit kit, which can run anywhere between $3,000 and $8,000 per dispenser, depending on where you've seen some different examples. Or there's the third-party retrofit example, which is ours. So a lot of their pain points right now are thinking, we have to do all this construction and rip up concrete. We're going to lose in-store revenue. We have to bring up equipment and tanks to code because those are going to be exposed. And then there's really not the ability with some of the solutions out there now to phase in changes or roll back if an implementation is ineffective. So it's kind of an all-in, and it's a very intensive choice they're facing. So something that ours offers the gas station is we retrofit the existing equipment, right? We're going to use, in most cases, the existing software. So our focus is EMV at the pump, low-cost EMV solution at the pump. So with our integrations with the bridge, it speaks to most of the major forecourt controllers. So we, in ideal scenarios, can use the existing point of sale with the existing forecourt, and all we have to do is implement at the pump with the wireless. So that's really great because gas station owners don't want a lot of change, sometimes, especially in this. And then really what Cory's going to get into is it takes hours, he might even say minutes, versus weeks or months to implement. A lot of these gas stations that I talk to through some of our channel partners say, hey, we don't have like the 3 weeks to close down. We're going to be crushed. We can't rip up the concrete. We don't have that time. We can't phase it in. They want to do it all in one. So what Cory and our team and a lot of our partners have done is phase it in. You can do one gas pump or one side of a pump. We can install, because it's a self-sustaining semi-integrated payment, we can phase that in. So these are some different things we hear and what we see in the ecosystem today. So we have an example here that we show sometimes, and it's a 4-pump C-store to upgrade equipment the traditional way. So if we go by some of those numbers we talked about, downtime can be up to a month. And I've seen some of these invoices and spoke to people. It's real. I mean, it's something that they have to face. And 4 dispensers, let's just say they get the 15,000 model, that's 60,000 up front in dispensers. That doesn't include all the different ancillary devices like hoses and nozzles. And then in-ground construction, tanks. We've got labor, permits, incidentals. A site can be looking at $200,000 or more for that first option I explained, brand new pumps. So that's one side of it. As you'll see, our solution is a third of that. In general, depending on the pump types, depending on the equipment makeup, etc., our partners are seeing 1/3 cost of that. And then what we also have, something that our partners like, and it's good for the industry as well, not just including sound payments, but good for the consumer, good for partners, is different value-added services like a cloud that the merchant can get access to, the reseller can get access to. Everyone wants to see data, and everyone wants to be mobile. So on your cell phone, on your tablet, whatever it might be, we have access to. The resellers can look at different merchants they have. The merchants can see their transactions. The cloud helps us integrate to different forecourt controllers. Just wanted to show this slide because it shows our company is thinking next steps in the cloud, very forward oriented. So if you wanted to see the product, and we'll get into some of the different pictures and videos later, this is the product. It's the PAX IM20. PAX is a big partner of ours, and if not the fastest or largest growing payment device company in the world. And at this point, this PAX IM20 right now is wireless. It accepts Bluetooth. It accepts contactless. It's PCI certified. It has the technology where if it's tampered with, the heart-sensitive data will actually break. It'll destroy inside because it's a PCI certified device. So that will help with some of the skimming and overlays out there. And Cory can talk to that too. And really, we're putting that right into the pump. I don't want to over describe it. I mean, this is going to go right into the existing pump, sometimes in a retrofit kit. Sometimes we use the panels that we have to install it. But think of it as a semi-integrated payment device. And then how everything speaks to each other. Think of the bridge as the gatekeeper. It's what allows the payment device of the pump to speak to the cloud, to speak to the forecourt controller. It allows, in some cases, a lot of the stations that we're going, depending on the branded or unbranded opportunities out there, this bridge will help us speak to the different forecourt controllers and speak to different point of sales. So it's a big piece of the solution and very integral. And then when there's a scenario that, a gas station may be extremely out of date and it's, an independent, or it may be something that never had EMV, they want to upgrade. We do offer a point of sale as well. And that could be something that is an extra revenue generator. And I wouldn't say that it's as mature as some ones that have been out in the industry for years, but it's a great entry level Petro point of sale. And you can see some of the different software features here. And then something that's really nice that we launched, and definitely a huge shout out to the operations team and everyone involved, is the Sound Hub. So we wanted to create a one-stop shop where people that had the, our product or that worked in our ecosystem as a partner could go on and have a one-stop shop to do orders, check a knowledge base. As you can see here, we have different types of partners, like I mentioned, so it's got different pages. And it's just supposed to make the reseller and the merchant at the end of the day feel secure, that where your orders are going. You can go on here to the community and check, different posts. You can get different devices and different knowledge here. As you can see, you could check your tickets. So if you placed an order and then a ticket was open, you could check everything here. We wanted to make it very simple. And then the ordering is a great example of just clicking it and going through. You select, you go down, and it's a really simple ordering process. We wanted to make that very easy for our partners. And then I wanted to mention one more note about the bridge, is just to back up a moment, is that the bridge supports Connexus standard. So that's something that in the industry is extremely important, and it's the language that everything has to speak. So I just wanted to emphasize that it supports that, and our technology is meant to be disruptive and really be different. So Cory, if you wanted to jump in here, I'd love to hear some information and some updates on what you're doing in the market, and talk about some of the installs, and I'll kind of jump into some slides after you. Might be on mute.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, perfect. Let me step into the vehicle right there, because I am here set up and still doing some installations right now. To be particular, I'm doing it on some Barco 500s. As Eric hit on me, the bases, we really aren't restricted to the pump type. So about any pump type out there we can be installed on. Our restrictions are based around the forecourt. So what we do is we do our own processing to the processor. So we do not go through the forecourt for processing. However, once our processing is complete, we turn around and go into the forecourt to give it the authorization of the pump. So in a standard scenario, this would be referred to as a above-site authorization, which is becoming pretty common amongst different features in the industry right now. It does allow us to, as I said, work with any pump, any printer that's in the pump. So as far as the pump's concerned, we are simply just going in, plugging in a power supply and removing the old card reader and putting our card reader in place of. Now, removing the old
Cory, real quick, that's exactly what we have on the screen here too, just so you know. I know you're on the road. So we have your step one, remove the old card reader and pin pad. And then you can see, it's actually Cory, everybody in the picture here. You can see him holding the cutout and, he fills the spaces in left by the old card reader. The existing bracket are used. And then he just mounts in the EMB Easy Pump there where the original pin pad was.
So Eric, do you have the pictures that I sent you just a minute ago by chance?
Those, I'm not sure exactly, might be in the presentation, but I can get to another one for you.
Those are the pumps I'm working on right now. So with the different pump scenarios, we run into different ways of having to mount the card reader. Whenever we're talking about a weighing fuel pump, the old card reader is actually the exact same size as the mounting bracket for our card reader. So any weighing card reader is purely just a pop in and pop out. So as far as replacing those, it becomes pretty simplified. On Barco card readers, those actually are a little bit smaller. They're about half the width of our card readers. So with those card readers, we actually have a blank template that goes in place where the old card reader was. And then we use different divisions of the pump to determine where to mount it. I know on a 500S and a 700, they have a cutout already for a tap pay. And that tap pay cutout, it's just 2 screws, pops out, and our card reader is actually able to flip right into there. I'm going to pull that up, Cory,
the one you're working on now. I'm going to pull the 2 up you have now.
The one I'm working on right now that I'm still working on, they're 500s or possibly 300s, depending on the boards inside the pump. But I'll just refer to them as 500. With this 500, it has the old keypad that is the thin press point keypad that does not have the metal buttons. Once you pop that keypad off, there's actually a cutout underneath that keypad that that our card reader fits into. And as soon as Eric gets those pictures pulled up, you can see the before and after where I filled in the card reader with the blank template. So where the old card reader was, there's just a black backing there now that matches the pump. Okay. And then where our card reader is falls in a little lower below the original card reader, giving you a little bit of the upward where the old key was just a stick-on keypad. I popped it off, and like I said, as far as our forecourt restrictions, as Eric said, we do use a Connexus standard, so we are able to talk to quite a few of the forecourts out there. With the Wayne forecourt, we do use the IFSS standard, which allows us to use either standalone forecourt for any standalone fuel stations that don't have retail out there, or it also allows us to work with third-party registers, well, like our own register, and then we have many third-party partners as well that we work with through this exact same scenario, allowing a third-party point of sale to use our basically our easy implementation to our bridge to be able to talk through a forecourt to any field pump out there. So that's another offering we do have, is with third-party partners being able to have a pretty streamlined way to get into a gas station without having to go through the major hassles of integrating to a major forecourt and all the processing to go with it. One other factor I want to hit on is, and Eric hit a little bit on it, is the PCI factor. So with many stations, with all stations out there, currently the pumps are within the PCI compliance realm. You have to go through audits. You have to go through keeping your security stickers on there. All these pumps fall directly within that PCI compliance. Now with our card readers, since we do have point-to-point encryption built into our card reader itself, it removes that PCI compliance off the pump itself and just puts it on our card reader. So the pump is no longer required within PCI compliance. It completely removes it as if it were a pump without card readers at all.
Okay, I'll have this in just a second here.
Let's get that pulled up, Eric. Is there anything else you want me to hit on, Eric?
Yeah, I'm going to show you the after pick right now, just so we have it up, and then you can describe it. Just, I can't minimize my screen. It's not letting me. One sec.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
As far as installation time on these guys, I have been, so with this specific site, we do have our in-store device that connects us back to the cloud. Requires one reboot on the commander after you put the specific installation instructions through there. So I would say our total in-store install time is about 20 to 30 minutes with 5 minutes of downtime for all credit cards and basically everything but cash sales. So that's our total downtime for entire site downtime is about 5 minutes. After that, whenever I come out to the pump, I just power off one full fueling point at a time. And then while it's powered off, I do the power installation while it's powered off. That takes me maybe 1 minute per pump, and then I go ahead and power the pump back on. And then at that point, once the pump's powered back on, I just do the installation per side. So all you truly have down is your single pump down for a minute, and then the per side as I install it, which takes, I would give it about, depending on the pump, about 15 minutes max per side.
Yep,
So
and then of course I've got that pump pickup for you too now. It's
okay, perfect. So with this station, they chose to keep their display there. So their display still prompts correctly along the side of ours. It initially says insert card. This particular station likes to keep their display because they like to put specific advertisements of basically their 2-for-1 products on their original display. But like I said, it will still prompt along with our reader as well, say insert card. And then once you get past that full point, it'll say begin fueling. And then after the fueling, it'll prompt you for a receipt. Now, right below that display, you'll see where the original card reader is. As you can tell, there's just now a black panel that fills in that spot. So that's completely metal panel that just fastens right back down with the same 4 screws I pulled the card reader out with. The slot to the right of the original card reader is the printer. The printer is the original printer to the pump. We didn't have to change anything out there. And then as you see at the bottom there is our card reader. So our card reader is in the spot where the original keypad was. That original keypad was just a stick-on keypad. And then and then I was able to take the panel out from behind that keypad to mount our card reader on. But that's basically the install in a nutshell. Very simplified, very quick, very minimal downtime for the fuel station, and once again, removes PCI compliance off your fuel pump itself.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, Cory. It's always great to hear the in the field examples and how it works, et cetera. I'm going to pull the presentation back up again. And please feel free if you have any questions to type them in the chat area, and we'd be happy to answer those afterwards. So here's another example, as you can see, of an installation of a Barco Encore 500, and you'll see the before picture there and the after, and how we could use that. In this case, they wanted to cover the panel there, the original display, and they had their low cost EMV option. They didn't have to replace their pumps. This one here, Cory, is the one that was all taped up. It's a before and after. It's the Barco Advantage, and you could see that this, cost was very important to this customer. They wanted to use these existing pumps, and we were able to, use certain covers and panels there over the old slots, and you see our product installed. And really, again,
I actually used just some cheap vinyl print to cover up some of the old vinyl that was there to sort of beautify the pump a little bit. But for the most part, it's exactly the same as the other. We send out a panel to cover up any intruding parts of the pump, and then we can mount our card reader into some of the existing spots as well.
Yep, and to answer Alex's question here, Cory, he had mentioned, I just want to get it while we have it, he had said, the existing keypad on the dispenser or the pin pad entry, does that stay or go? It depends, right?
It can stay if the customer wants it. I try to remove the majority of them and fill in with either a card reader or a blank panel itself. So the only reason you would want to keep the existing pin pad is if you want to, if you want to have certain promptings. I've yet to have anybody actually use that, nor would I really know how at this point, but I know that there's ways that in the future we may use those to do prompting for different types of advertisements and stuff like that. But for the most part, I would say remove the keypad.
Yep. I'll go to the next slide here. This one, we have the Wayne Helix, the Wayne Ovation, and the Barco Encore 300. So I'm sure everyone has heard of these and seen some of these out there, and Cory might be able to talk about his experience on these.
Yeah, as far as all those pumps go, I know the Helix itself, that one was actually a brand new pump install. So a little bit, as all of our customers are, they all have a little bit different scenario and setup. So this customer did want new pumps, but he wanted to save a little money on pumps. So what he did was he ordered the Wayne Helixes without a card reader at all, which is a complete option for us. So he ordered the pump, no card reader, had us install our card reader, and therefore he had a brand new pump with a brand new card reader on it. With that, the savings there, I believe he told me that the original cost of the pump was around $12,000 with the card readers, and then after he ordered the pump without the card readers and put ours in, he fell in approximately around $8,000. So a significant savings to get the exact same results.
And just real quick, I want to mention here, and thank you for that, Cory, that we are approaching that 30-minute mark. So if you do have to go, I appreciate it, but we hope you do. There's a little bit more. Just wanted to update there. And then also, we work with the local installers or local service tech pump, service companies. So that's something that if, in terms of training and everything that Cory just talked about, and you saw the step 1 through 5, this is something that as a company, gratis, the first time, we love to help train and show you how to use the product so that, eventually you can just load these things up remotely and have them on the truck And then if a if a station needs one, because we have structured and designed everything, through the cloud and for it to be managed remotely, it's something that you'll be able to just keep repeating. So these are some wanes you've seen, and then that Barco Encore 300. And then got a quick video here. I'll show you. This is that I believe one of the wanes, you can see. Cory, it's your friend with the Georgia sweatshirt on for one of those installs we did.
I'm sorry. Bunch of background noise.
Oh, no worries. I was just one of the installs. You can see there. It's a video of one of the customers, and that was a low-cost EMV upgrade there. And then we'll go to the next slide here. This is actually Cory, everybody, and he's putting his card in for an EMV transaction. Putting in his zip code. And as you can see, it's retrofit to the existing pump. They were able to cover the things that weren't used anymore, and that the transaction went right through there. And the forecourt through the cloud spoke to each other and activated the pump. So that concludes some of the major things here we wanted to talk about. And we're excited that you joined. It was mostly to just educate and talk about the ecosystem. EMV came out and was announced in 2011. It didn't get adopted into retail until 2015. And then the petroleum industry, as you know, it kept getting delayed and delayed. And with COVID and everything going on, it's this April 2021. So, this is really meant to kind of show what the options gas station owners have these days, and it's a tough decision. Spend a major capital investment on everything, and from new pumps to nozzles to concrete to the store. It's a big investment, and especially now people don't have a ton of money to just blow on that, and it's important. But the other option is that retrofit kit by the manufacturer, and those for the gas station owner can also be very cost intensive and time intensive. So, we come in as a very disruptive new solution to the industry. Been working on it as a company for 3 years and just launched it about 6 months ago or so. And now we've got, dozens and dozens and dozens of customers and partners. And we really just want to help provide that low cost solution for something that is very difficult these days. So with that, I'll go to some questions, and I'm going to put the poll up, everybody. So I'm going to launch the poll, and if you wouldn't mind, would love to hear if you found today's webinar resourceful. While you're thinking of a question, you can fill this out. What did you find most useful? Was there something that we didn't cover? And then you can choose exactly how you found out. So please fill the poll out, and we'll get to a question here. So Cory, we have a question here from Allison Dumas, and she's asking, our stations are CFN stations that accept Visa, MasterCard, and Voyager WEX. Are your readers compatible with CFN cards and the CFN network?
That is a great question, because I actually just installed a CFN station day before yesterday, or day before that, I can't remember. But we are going to try to work with CFN to do a direct integration for that station in particular. What we did was they had a dedicated card slot for their CFN, and then they had our card for everything else. So they dedicated the original card slot for CFN only, disabled all other card functionality aside from CFN, because it is a proprietary network. And then they put our card reader out there for doing their full EMV capable transaction. So every other card except for CFN ran on ours, and then an individual card slot for CFN. Now, with that being said, that's not to say that we won't be integrating with CFN. I'm going to try to start working with them here really soon, because that has become a major demand for us.
Yep. And then another question we have here, they're asking us to go over the cost again. So just to kind of earmark that, industry things we've heard, you're looking at new pump replacements between 15 and 20K per pump. And those full sites can be, $250,000 or more. And then you're looking at the manufacturer retrofit kits, as we talked about, and the gas stations those can cost them between $3,000 and $8,000 per dispenser. You're still looking at a large capital investment. And then our solution is coming in at a third of those. So we're really the low cost option. We don't, we're heavily focused on achieving the immediate pump for low cost, simple installs. Can we install with Irving oil stations? Cory.
What was that question again, Eric?
They're asking if we can install with Irving oil stations.
Irving. I have not had any requests, nor have I ever talked to them, so I cannot answer that question. If you would like to get us your contact information, we can coordinate that with you to contact them and see who they process with and if it's available option. So if we're already on the same processor with them, it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. And then another question is, because I know we work with some point of sales today, they're asking if we work, it's Red Mesa Trading Company is asking, will this work for a next gen / Palm POS?
So Palm, they had an integration with the Wayne Fusion. I'm unsure if they still do. But if they still do have that integration, we could work that through Wayne Fusion. We have had no demand for the Allied yet, so we have not done an integration with them. However, if we did have enough demand for an Allied system, integration on that would take us about a 4-week time frame. And of course, a big enough demand could have us putting the effort in for that.
Yep. And then another quick note too about the manufacturer retrofit kits is that they do not work for all pumps. So something that we found is that we really haven't seen a pump yet that we can't work with. So just another value prop here. And then Cory, we're getting a lot of questions about branded stations. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So there is a few of the brands that we are working on currently. We have not officially released with them yet. So there's one we're in beta. There's 2 that we're in beta with, and 1 that we should be in beta with in the next coming couple months. But as of right now, we have not released any of them. However, once again, just like with the Irving thing, if you'd like to get directly with us, depending on your brand, you can let us know your brand, and we can tell you the stage we're at with that brand.
Yes, definitely. We encourage you to, let's have a conversation about the opportunity. We could see where it aligns and if it works or not. So, please, you see on the screen here, the Sound Payments website, and we ask you, you can email Cory or I. It's Eric, ERIC.G@Sound Payments. And what we have as a company, just to give you a little tidbit, is we've got a really cool site survey. So again, not trying to sound salesy, but when we try to identify sites, we want to know, hey, what's the forecourt type? What's the point of sale type? What's the network? Do they have wireless? So we'll work with you to identify where the synergies are with what lines up, et cetera. And I know we've taken a little bit of your extra time here. So again, I just want to thank everybody for joining. I want to thank Angela and the whole team over at the Georgia Association of Convenience Stores, the Florida Petroleum Marketers Association, the Petroleum Marketers Association of America, and the Western States Associations as well. We really appreciate you joining and all your support. And again, it's eric.g@soundpayments.com. And you can feel free to email, call, message. We'd be happy to talk about it with you, and if anything, just to help educate. So thank you, everybody, so much. Thank you, Cory, and our team, and have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.